Hey guys, it's Tyler. Welcome back to 5 Cent Wax. Tonight, I've got a very special guest on. I've been looking forward to this show for a while. I'm going to be chatting with Anthony Bader of Bader's Hobby Life. I'm sure you all know him well, so let's bring him on.
Tyler, you said I'm special. Thank you.
Yo, it's Bader.
What's up, buddy?
How are you, my friend? Everything good?
Dude, especially today. I get some bro time. Like I
Oh,
don't know. I'm like, oh, this is good. This is gonna be like sitting next to somebody at a campfire, just talking about life. I'm excited for this.
I like that. Maybe next time I need to like take the camera or the computer outside, build a little fire, and just throw some lighting out there and just hit record. That'd give a nice ambiance, I
I
think.
think that'd be a good vibe. I think that'd be a good vibe. I don't know if it would. It's an idea. I don't know if the idea will work, but like, yeah, I would like that vibe.
Yeah, well, I'm all about a campfire. Believe me, I can sit and stare at a fire all night long. So that's a great idea.
There's
So
something primal in all of us that love that. Yeah.
I agree. So, Mr. Bader, what's going on up in your neck of the woods?
Just surviving this mild winter, this mild
Yeah,
boring winter. Getting I can't wait for spring and summer to come. I can't wait for baseball to come. Yeah, it's been a rough season in life
yeah,
here for the last 4 or 5 months. So the whole card collecting and what we're talk about here is really a reprieve from all that stuff. But
right.
I'm looking forward to the spring.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We've had a few patches of winter weather and some ice here in Tennessee, and so I'm ready to get past that and golf and do all the good fun things outside, baseball rolling around like you mentioned. So it's getting ready to be a good time of year here in the not too distant future. But speaking of your neck of the woods, Bader, so just so everybody knows, we've had the opportunity to talk. I think 2 or 3 times on the phone. We've exchanged some texts. But really, I reached out a buddy. I I stumbled on your channel a while back, and I've always loved your channel. And I knew you were one of the guys that I wanted to talk to and get to know, kind of through this or just even outside of the YouTube thing. I just thought you were a cool dude, somebody I'd like to chat with. And so I kind of stalked you and found somebody with your number, a mutual friend, Joe. I think it was Joe, the redneck collector, Joe Connor.
The
Um,
Yeah, the collection ninja. He finds ninja deals places. I'm like, how did you get what you got for what you
yeah,
got for?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So too, it's like everybody else out there, the deals that Joe stumbles on. But I got your number through Joe and reached out, and you were so gracious. You ended up calling, and we were able to talk and instead of text, which I love. And then I've kind of got to have another conversation with you, and so I'm really happy for that. But there's a lot of questions that I have, and more I want to know about you, and I'm sure others do too. So this is unscripted, so who knows where this will go, but we're going to have a good time tonight.
sounds good. Fire away. We'll see what you find is
Yeah,
interesting or not.
do you feel like you're on the hot seat? Have you ever seen the like the hot seat episodes where like it's just rapid fire questions somebody has to answer? Is that how you feel?
No, not at all. Not
Ah,
not not at
yeah.
all.
All right. So you're from the Pacific Northwest. I know that from a conversation we had. You're from where? Well, you're from Washington State. Is that right? Or,
How do we say from? I live in Washington State. I've been here since 1995.
okay.
Uh, I was born in '79. I was born in Wisconsin,
In
and
Wisconsin.
then I
So
grew up
he,
in Alaska. Yeah.
oh, okay. There's a little part I didn't know. I think you had told me that were originally from Wisconsin. I didn't know the Alaska part. Is there a lot of? I mean, how did you play baseball in Alaska? How did that work out when you were a
Exactly. How do you
youngster?
play? Well, Alaska's a little interesting for baseball because there's 3 months out of the year where you go, it might be better to play there than anywhere in the world because it is sunny all day long. So
Yeah.
in Fairbanks, where I did most of my growing up, you have a stadium there where the gold painters play, and there is a ton of famous players that played up there. Barry Bonds played for the
Oh
gold
yeah.
painters. Dave Winfield was up there. Uh, Tom Seaver and Mark McGuire were up in that. They played for the Anchorage Glacier Pilots, but there's a lot of guys who played up there. And I don't know if you remember a guy, Jose Cruz Jr. for the
Yeah.
Mariners
Oh yeah.
for a
Mhm.
couple years. When I was a kid, I remember going and watching a game there, and he hit a home run left-handed and then home run right-handed, and he was like
Yeah.
19 years old. but it's summer ball, so it's like the collegiate studs would go and play. But but you don't have great organizations up there for youth. So
Ah,
I thought I was like, hey, I'm a big deal because in this little 100,000 people, in a 400 square miles, there's only so many kids. There's so many kids playing, and so you play all-star team, all-star, and you're a pitcher, center fielder, or whatever, and you think you're a big deal, and you're not. But I actually moved down from there to play
yeah.
baseball down here. So I
Okay.
left my family when I was 15 and lived with aunt and uncle so I could play at Lake Stevens High School, which
Awesome.
had a phenomenal team when I came down. They were
Yeah.
they were crazy.
Well, that's awesome. That's a little bit of your history I hadn't got to learn so far in the limited conversations we have. So that's interesting. We'll probably loop back around to the baseball aspect. I've heard you say on your
Yeah.
channel before, baseball's way funner than collecting cards. But when you can't
Oh
play
yeah.
baseball, collecting cards is the next best thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, so
Well, and then
what?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I was just gonna say how I got into card collecting is the Fairbanks Winters.
Yeah.
There's no
Nothing
playing
else to
anything outside. There's
do.
nothing. So and back the junk wax cards as a kid, like I'm sitting there in a room where it's pitch black outside and it's cold, and like that's how you fell in love with cards.
All right. Well, that's a good segue to what I was going to ask because I was going to ask, what got you into card collecting, but I'm guessing from from episodes of your channel that I've watched, you maintained your connection kind of to the Wisconsin, Minnesota area there in that general area of the country. But you're a Twins fan, am I correct?
Yeah, I'm a historic Twins fan.
I
Well,
mean,
I mean that by
massive.
like, hey, do you follow the Twins now? And I'm like, not really.
I mean, well, how about let's go back to what about vintage Kirby Puckett days?
Ugh.
I mean, I think I may have seen a Kirby Puckett or two on your channel before. Is am I on base there?
It's interesting. I always like. I think I've mentioned Kirby Puckett's my favorite player. Probably, I don't know. I don't know how many episodes I've had, 50, 60. But I think I've mentioned it maybe 6 or 7 times, 10 times, something like that. So it's not every episode, but I'm like, I'll say it. But I'm mostly showing vintage stuff. So it's just the 80s stuff, 90s stuff doesn't really come up as much. But I did one episode where I showed my Kirby Puckett collection. I don't know
Yeah,
if you saw it, but I had a lot of
I've
people going,
seen it. Yeah.
"What's wrong with you, man?" Yeah, I'm surrounded. I have boxes and boxes of Kirby Puckett cards.
It's a Kirby super collection. I love it. I
Yeah.
do have some Kirby Puckett. I think one time, yeah, I've got the 85 tops representing
Mm-hmm.
back here in the case behind me. You can't see it, but I
Good.
am
You're a good man. Good man.
Yeah, I mean, a man of class, right? Obviously.
Oh, well, I know it now.
So you're a kid in Fairbanks, junk wax area, you're starting to collect and kind of get into the hobby just really because there's not a lot else that you can do in Fairbanks, Alaska, and that time of year, obviously. But is the card collecting hobby something that you just kind of kept on with, or did you return from it to it after some time away?
Well, when I was a kid, our family didn't have a lot of money. My parents didn't give me money, but when I would, you'd shovel snow, or in the summer you'd mow lawns, and I would get some money, and I would go down. There's a place called Comic Shop, and I would pick up cards there. And so I wasn't able to acquire a lot, but I had to. Maybe this is like the way I am now. Big cards like this were not going to be in my. I couldn't get the $10 card, the $15 card. I'm like, all right, I'm the 5 cent cards, the 10 cent cards. So I would have, I would be a volume collector because I couldn't
Yeah.
get bigger cards. And so I did that. I still have all my cards from when I was a kid. I've got four 3,000 count boxes that are like stack of Ozzie Smiths like that, stack of George Brett's like this, Dave Winfield. Like it's just, but you go through and you go, what's the most valuable card in there right now? It's like 50 cents, maybe $1. So it's like there's nothing. That's the way I was. And then when I moved down, the cards all came with me in a steamer
Yeah.
trunk. And I would still collect, but same thing. I didn't have much money, so it was just a little bit here and there. And I mostly would focus on Kirby because it's kind of like it's what I would have some kind of budget for. And I'd always, like, every year I would get more cards. And I did that even in college. It would be rare, but I'd pick up some cards when I had a little bit of money. But it was, I mean, we're talking like $50 a year kind of thing, like once I was
Yeah.
in college. And I kept doing that. But as soon as I got married, and it's right when I had my first kid, that's when, like, and it's not that I didn't want to, it's that, dude, you got more important things.
Yeah.
So that just got tabled, and I probably averaged $10 to $15 a year
Yeah.
from that point on. Like, opportunistically, hey, we had a garage sale. Ooh, there's some cards there, and like you'd pick them up, but I wouldn't go seeking it out.
Yeah.
And then I'd say fast forward when I was 32, I started my own business. That started to become something. And once I was like, okay, it's not about like paycheck to paycheck anymore. We're actually doing kind of okay. I started opening it back up. And that's when I started getting back into like, oh my gosh, I can do a Harmon Killebrew run now. I can do my
Yeah.
Tony Oliva and Bob Allison and Jim Cat. And I didn't go like, oh, let's get everything. But I got some of these cards that I wanted as a kid that I couldn't. But I was still like, I'm not going to spend $50 on a card, even though I could. So I kept it very humble in terms of my what it is that I wanted to accomplish. Like, in
Right.
time, like, I just want to slowly fill up the sets. But each time you break a level, like, oh, I spent $50 on a card, and then like, oh, down the road, like, I could spend 75 now, and eventually at some point like that changes. But it never, boy, even when I was like, okay, it's probably I'm guessing $200 to $400, $500 a year.
Yeah.
Even when I was doing well. And then I went through a divorce. And then after the divorce, that's when I really got back into collecting. And I think a lot of people do that. They'll go through something like that, and they revert to something in before the relationships that you hold on
Yeah.
to that was good. And yeah, so that divorce was difficult. And cards, really, I have a couple episodes. One of them was like self-medicating with cards, and it's the first time I
Yeah.
actually had, like, I was like, whoa, a lot of people are like, I identify with this, and that's the first time I got some like subscribers that jumped up.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm having a rough day, I'm having a hard day, and it's been a hard couple of years, and people are like, it resonated. But I'm like, it really is. The cards are like, if I'm looking at these, my brain's engaged with that. I'm remembering youth. I'm identifying with the sport that I absolutely love. So it's kind of like it's a walled garden, so to
Yeah.
speak. It's just the place of zen and just like letting some stuff go.
Yeah.
So if you see my channel and you see all my set collecting, that, like, I was never a set collector. That is literally I have some kind of mission. I can see myself progress through it.
Yeah.
And that's been a self-medication process.
Well, for a man that wasn't always a set collector, I must say you've picked up the niche pretty well. I mean, it is awesome when I see you sitting there and you see all the binders behind you on the bookshelves, and I love that when you give us a look into the different sets. And the one that sticks out in my mind, I'm a 55 Tops guy. It's my favorite set, and I loved watching your video where you kind of work through where you were and putting some cards in. I love the placeholder kind of cards that you do for the cards that you're still needing, all that kind of thing. So when it comes to sets, I obviously, there's more to you as a collector and more interest you have than set collecting. But so from that time frame of when you went through this rough spot in your personal life, from then until now, how has the set collecting? How long has that been going on? Because you have done a fantastic job of kind of assembling that.
Thank you. It's you can do anything if you have money. Like,
absolutely.
I remember, like, Tony Southern Collector. I'm like, I've seen like you've seen some of his stuff. Like, awesome dude, great at express his stuff. You see his journey, and you're like, holy crap, how are you able to do that? But like, you've got a business owner, you've got some resources, you're able to do those things. I've been able to do that because I still have my roots of being like more thrifty and not being as condition sensitive.
Yeah.
So sometimes people talk about, the curator aspect and having a great eye and all that stuff, which I respect. I respect and I love it. But I'm like, I will not be able to complete sets and do that if I hold some kind of like legit standard. Like, and it's to each their own. And I'm like, from my youth and everything, it was more of like the volume and the
Yeah.
interaction with them and stuff like that. And I love sets that I'd say with baseball cards, and one of the passion things that I have where I go, okay, I'm a little bit different here, is everybody chases like the same 5 guys.
Right. Yeah.
Those guys are awesome, but I'm just like, man, what about everybody else? I mean, there's some like, we watch the sport now and there's 30, 40 guys out there that are like very noteworthy in their town. They're a big deal. They're the ones that are on like, I would say magazines, but now it's not magazines, it's different stuff. But, and that's what it was back then. And I'm like, I have a very big appreciation for those players. And I'm still learning that there's players that were like that I'd never even heard of.
Right.
And now I have sets where I go, oh, I got that card. I got so-and-so's rookie card. Oh my gosh. Right. Like, I didn't know who Wilbur Wood was, for example, or, there's just tons of players. I'd know my Twins history, but I wouldn't necessarily know these other ones. So I love that about set collecting.
Yeah.
Being like, hey, I've got, name a player. I've got his run. Big player, small player, like if he played in the 50s, 60s, 70s, I'm like, I got it. And I enjoy that a lot.
That's a beautiful thing. I find myself, I like the idea of set collecting. But the extent of complete sets in my collection goes back to my childhood. So it's really early 80s to 90, 91, I think, that's it's top sets. So, growing up in the junk wax era, I mean, that was kind of one of the things that, back then that's just what we did. At the time I collected with my brother, and that we just put sets together, and that was something my dad helped us with and all that. Yeah. So there's a lot of good memories tied up in those sets that are on the shelf, and not anything monetary, not with monetary value. It's just all sentimental, because there's a lot of memories attached there. But I think because that sometimes I do think like of certain sets, or like, man, that would be really cool. I like, to try to put as many of these sets together as I could, because I'm kind of like you in that I like being able to see progress. I like being able to see I've gone from point A to point B and I'm progressing to C. And I think, if you're collecting sets, it's very obvious the progression.
I think you hit it right there. And it's clear what your mission is, because sometimes we collect, we go, what exactly am I? Well, I can't. If you're like, all right, I'm working on this set, it's very clear, and you can see the progress. And I definitely love that you have your little check sheet.
Yeah,
like I have a little thing that says I got 28 cards left, I got 15 cards left. I get, each time you go through, and you're like, all right, I'm going to get this done. And it's. I would not say set collecting should not be for everybody. Like I said, I went through my stuff, but I had built up 2 businesses that had a pretty strong revenue that going. So I was able to do some stuff that I never ever would have been able to do in my 20s. Would have been foolish for me to do in my 20s. I mean, shoot, it might be foolish for me to be doing this now, but it would have been like destructive. And so, if you go, oh, I spent $2,000 on building sets this month, and you're like, there's maybe only little windows in your life that you can do that, depending. Right. So, and for me, I just took the, honestly, took the 3 years or so where I go, to be playing, it's like you go through something and you feel like everything that you had in life got like blown up. And so you go, and I remember I remarried. So I've been married a year and a half now. And I had a conversation, and it was a deep one. And I go, it's the only thing I have that I feel like's mine. Right. Everything is in a band. You go like, all right, I'm building. The house is for us. The cars are. Like everything is for your the umbrella over your kids and your spouse and everything else. And you're like, and I'm like, I never got stuff for myself for 20, 30 years. Yeah. Like, your cards, like, I go, no, I just said, I don't need it. I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. And then now I'm like, I did that for a long time. So one of the things that came out of this, though, I'm like, I picked up baseball again. I picked
Yeah.
up sports for myself again. I picked up cards for myself. I got, this is my thing. I love it. I'm not going to let it go anymore to
Yeah.
be, an umbrella. So
No,
it's,
that's awesome. I think it's a really a much needed thing for most of us that are in the hobby. It's a healthy kind of thing. I know you're sitting in your card room now, chilling. It's like, do you not have kind of a special vibe or a special place in your heart for your card room now that you have your own card room?
uh,
Um, I imagine, and where I'm going with that is that I'm semi in my own space, so that I'm in a bonus room, and my wife has been
mhm.
kind enough to kind of give me a corner here and a corner there. But I'm still in the stage of life where I've got younger kids, and so I've also got like a Super Mario Kart racetrack right here
Yeah.
beside me, and I love all that. But like I kind of look forward to a day where hopefully I have my own dedicated space and I can lay it out exactly as I want and just have a place that's quiet and I can go look at cards and chill
Mhm.
and do things like this, talk to other guys in the hobby if I want to and just hang out. And that's kind of just looking at you now, just chilling. You look pretty at ease and pretty comfortable there in your room.
So if I go into my house, um, I know at any moment my wife's going to be like, "Hey, can you give me a glass of water? Hey, can you get?" Which I'm like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm here for you,
I'm
especially
your
with what's
man.
going on
Yeah.
right now, right?" But I also have an overactive dog who's like, "There's a squirrel outside. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go." And the cats are constantly, "Yeah, give me some food. Give me some." And my stepdaughter, who I love, there's always something going on in the world. So and then I have two businesses where I'm like, so it's constant stimulation of addressing everything. And so so yeah, you're like, as soon as I step into this space, everything's gone.
Yeah.
So if you can go, all right, they you'll say, hey, find a quiet place, go to that, whether it's prayer, reflection, whatever's, do that from time to time to replenish your soul so that you can come back and be a servant again. and
Absolutely.
and so I think we need this. I think that there's a lot of men out there, maybe not card collectors, maybe ones that don't see this, or some of them might watch this thing and nod and go, I think there's a reason sometimes a guy will be in a bathroom for 45 minutes, half hour.
Yeah.
He's like,
Well,
he did his business in the first minute, but he's still sitting there going like, I just need another minute.
I don't know, man. I don't think I've used the bathroom without a little hand coming under the door or somebody going, "Hey, Dad, what you doing?" And like, it's been
Yeah.
almost 8 years now, so at some point I'm gonna miss that when it's gone, maybe.
Yeah.
But no, I get what you mean for sure, and that's it's kind of a deeper thing that your card room, your time away, your time to unwind. Like that's the thing I've found. I came back to the hobby really almost a year ago, so last March, and there's the whole backstory on how I came back, and it was basically just through losing my older brother, who was,
Mhm.
who I collected with as a kid, and just a whole, kind of a lot that goes with the hobby for me since I've got back into it because of just all the memories that are attached to it, like I mentioned with the sets, but then also there's pieces of memorabilia that I remember being at a show where he got it signed as a kid or stuff
Yeah.
like that. And so for me, um, it's not just the chance to reconnect, but I've talked to a lot of other people, and well, you mentioned Tony Liebrick, for instance, the Southern Collector. Had an opportunity to talk to him just like this a couple of
Hmm.
weeks ago, and one of the things we kept talking about was community. And so I'm probably like I reached out because I needed community, but I'm kind of a weird like extroverted introvert, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
So like I think for a lot of collectors, like we love the cards, but we in a small way kind of need like that sense that somebody else has the same interest, and we use it as an avenue to get to know others and unwind even more by being able to hang out and chat and just be dudes talking about
Yeah.
cards, right? And so I think that's the kind of overarching for me bigger thing is that it gives me a chance to unwind, meet people, new people like yourself, and I'm always on the lookout for new friends and new acquaintances, and um, there's just so much. It's just such a deeper aspect of the hobby that I never knew existed until I came back to the hobby. And maybe
Yeah.
that's a lot of rambling that doesn't make sense, but that's kind
No,
of
it resonates. Like I'm very independent. I enjoy people, but I like being with one person at a time. I'm not
mhm.
super social. I spent a lot of time by myself growing up, so and I've just gotten really used to that. But I think there's this feeling like, oh, I don't need people then, but that's not true. And it's you're telling stories about like collecting kids junk wax, but like whether it's your dad, your brother, and it's like there's all this communal stuff, and I'm like, man, that's beautiful. And I look back, I go, yeah, I collected it alone as a kid. Like I had
Yeah.
some friends that were into it, where we did some trading and stuff like that, but my family wasn't into it at all. Um, but the reason why I got into YouTube was like, you have some self reflections and stuff, and I'm seeing all these people go like, man, I am so glad I started a YouTube channel. I've gained all of these friends. I've gained all of it. It's not just about the cardboard. It's not just about that. And what I watch this, I go, I would like to have a community in this. I would like to have not like everybody. Like some of these people are like, they have a community of 20 people. And I'm like, whoa, I would be so overwhelmed trying to keep track of people, and so text me, and then so and so text me. Somebody got me, I think it was, maybe was it Joe or no? I can't remember, but it was, what's the app where everybody's talking on it? Discord?
Discord.
Is it Discord?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And all of a sudden it's like bing, 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 bing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I already have 1,000 things to juggle. I'm like, I can't do
Silence
this. So I think I
notifications. Yeah.
said something once. I'm like, I can't get into this. If somebody invites me to do like fantasy football or baseball, I'm like, no, dude, I can't. I don't have the
Yeah.
bandwidth.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that you don't want to be alone in it, and it's a beautiful thing. So I listen to some people who are like, man, what a great community is that. There's certain people that stick out to me, like Greg Midlife Cards, and like all of the people he's met through there. I enjoy watching like Theo,
Yeah.
um, Clemente Collector is just like, it seems like there's certain people who go, they're the connectors. They're like,
Right.
and you've got that vibe about you too. Like you're reaching out to
Oh.
me, you're reaching out to all these different people, and you're like, hey, I want some connections. And it's like I'm not that way, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm thankful for that, and like it's like, thank you. Like, thank you for reaching out. Yeah, I want to participate. I'm just not. I've never been used to doing that like some of the
Yeah.
community is. So I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I've had so much fun, and I still, I mean, I say it over and over again, but when I started reaching, like I don't know about you, but like I never envisioned even having my own YouTube channel or being a content creator. Like that was solely driven by the wanting to meet new friends. My wife was about to choke me out if she heard me talk about cards one more time, and so it was kind of like you talked about how growing up it was just kind of you collecting,
Yep.
not that big a community around you. Well, when I was growing up and it was, me and my brother, my mom, my dad, taking us to shows or the little card shop could go to or whatever, it was like, kind of built in. It was just, there was still other people around us, even if they were family that were doing it. And then when I came back to the hobby and was completely alone, it was like, I'm going to have to do something here. Like, I'm going to have to meet some people. So, I
Was it
don't
the same?
mean
Do you feel like it's hard to justify? Like, it's hard to justify collecting cards when it's just for yourself. And I would have that feeling, especially as I started to increase resources doing it. I'm
mhm.
like, this is just me. And it did. I think that's what fueled me to want to connect with people, because I'm like, I can't justify doing
Yeah.
this if it's just about me and sitting in a room looking at a card, and that's all it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's, I think that's where, like, when I finally decided to do the YouTube, it was about the community, and I've never told the other part about this, but the other part was to show my son, my oldest son, what it's like to get out of your comfort zone and go do something that you maybe aren't just super comfortable doing, but you're figuring it out as you go, and you're just putting yourself out there. So it was a
Yeah.
little bit of a lesson and kind of I don't know, kind of a gesture to show him that, because he's a great kid. He's 8 years old, and he's very outgoing, smart as a whip. But he's in that stage where it's everything is that he comes across is there's a lot of newness for him right now. He's starting to get a little bit older and kind of out of the smallish
Yeah.
stage, and he's starting to kind of figure some other things out and kind of trying to figure out what he's comfortable with and what he's not. And like I'm trying to encourage him to stretch and grow and
Yeah.
push him that direction. And so the other part of why I even got on YouTube, outside of the community part and needing to connect with people, which was also a primary driver, was as him to see me doing it, because I could show him the first video I ever recorded. When I did, his face just lit up and he was like, wow, you did this. And then it kind of sparked his interest. And, I've been trying to get his interest sparked in cards, both my kids and baseball and, sports in general. My youngest is going into his fourth year of T-ball / coach pitch now. So, we're having a good time, kind of starting to do the hobby together too, now that they're getting old enough to do it
Yeah.
and enjoy it. But I guess that's the other cool aspect I never thought about the hobby, and even something like YouTube, is that you can also even tie it back to the lessons and trying to teach your kids and show them things as well. And until we had this conversation, I had never even really considered that part of it, of how that all ties together. But I just
Yeah.
find more and more there's a lot of really cool things and cool avenues you can get into in this hobby, and I'm sure looking forward to exploring more avenues as I go, for sure. So
Did your have your kids embraced a little bit of the collecting bug at all too, or do they kind of
yeah,
think it's kind of neat that you're doing it, but not necessarily into it themselves?
no, they actually. So last year, what even got me back in the hobby was, we every year for my brother for their birthday, for my oldest birthday, since birthday one, he would buy him a complete set of the tops release for the year, for the
Yeah.
flagship set. And then when we lost my brother a couple of years ago, it kind of hit me like, well, if we're gonna keep this up, like we're gonna have to put sets together. And so we started putting a set together to keep the tradition going, and then that kind of got him into it. And then my youngest coming up started to play ball a couple of years ago, and he just thought it was cool that, hey, these guys run cards and I play baseball too, and and
Yeah.
so it's turned into a really cool thing. And they're starting to branch out and find their own interest out, that are outside of cards. But I don't know. We've managed to come back. I'll catch my oldest up here a lot looking at the cards in this display behind me. Like if we're just hanging out and I'm over on the couch or something, like if he gets
Yeah.
quiet, I'll turn around. A lot of times he'll be looking at the cards, and I've got some other stuff on display that he likes to pick up and look at. And and I welcome that. I love when I see him looking at these
Yeah.
cards. And uh I've tried to have the conversation with him to explain to him, I'm a big Mantle guy, got some Willie Mays, and I've got some Ernie Banks and other. And so I start telling them about these guys, and I don't know how much of it they're retaining, but they at least are humoring Dad and that they're listening.
Well,
So like,
at least when they grow up, they go, "I've heard of him." Like
yeah,
that. Maybe that's all, but yeah.
Dad used to tell us about that guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So sorry, I kind of went on a mini rant there and kind of.
Oh no, I love it, because then it's like I get to learn more about you as well. So
Yeah. So we I guess one of the things, like, what are you doing now? Are you pretty much still involved in just the set collecting, or are there other kind of avenues that you're working as far as individual players or things you like or you're looking for?
well, I'm mostly focusing on the set collecting right now because it's the clearest path right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have less bandwidth right now than say like a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm just spread so thin. The set collecting, especially in the 50s, like finishing that has been more of my focus. But because I can't look at everything. But if this was a year ago, I mean, I'm looking at a lot of pre-war Washington Senators stuff. I'll still look at rare, like the few pocket cards that I don't have. Like I'll be looking for those kinds of things. There's even things like Johan Santana or
Yeah.
Marty Cordova or whatever, like certain art, like kind of looking for those. But I've really chilled out on that stuff. I made such progress in the last 3-4 years on my Tony Oliva runs, my Harmon Killebrew runs, all-time favorites, where there's just not many that I don't have.
Yeah.
So, and it takes time looking through those, but when
Mm-hmm.
with the set collecting, it's a little more streamlined for me. So,
Right.
I think I wrote it down. I'm now into the 80s. I have about 85, 84 cards left between 1952 and 1959, not counting the high series for 52 tops. I'm like, those I'm not messing with, but everything else, like, so I'm really getting close. And
That that is impressive. Say that again.
I
You
have
like
I have
80,
about
what'd you say?
84 cards left between 1952 and 1959. So I'll
Very
be
nice.
almost done. Now I have a couple big hurdles. Like this, I had written this down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 cards that are going to be at least $600
Yeah.
left. So like the 52 and 53 Willie Mays, the 53 Mantle, the 55 Clemente, the 53 Jackie Robinson, and the 59 Bob Gibson. Those are the ones that are all like, ugh, like
Yeah.
to get.
The
Uh,
monsters. Yeah.
yeah, everything else is like, okay, it's doable. And then every other big card in those, I have those now. So
Yeah.
um, yeah. So and some of those cards, like the 52 Willie Mays, like I might just never pull the trigger on it. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like my income is not what it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
so,
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
so that stuff's shifted for sure.
I've been really lucky to kind of in that vein, that you were talking earlier. I mean, my priorities in life right now obviously are towards the kids and, being as responsible as I can be and a good dad and all that kind of thing. I kind of think that good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, that one day down the road, like I would really like to spend kind of hopefully my retirement years, if that day ever gets here. Um, if the resources align and things are different just in life and not crazy chaotic, that I would like to spend some of those years hopefully ticking off some of those cards that I was never able to get during this
Yeah.
time of my life. So I kind of keep a running list of, that's not now, that's maybe later, like way on down the road, but we'll keep that out here in the thought process if I need this one day.
I think it's important that we remind ourselves a bit. They're like, it's cardboard.
Yeah.
It's cardboard and paint, right? And it can be a lot of fun, but it's like you said, like for me, like all those years where I didn't, I go, it's because I've got to, let's pay off the
Yeah.
house. Let's get our retirement fully funded. Let's
Yeah.
make sure that all of this stuff's dialed in, like like that legacy kind of thinking, right? And uh, so that's the focal point. Like I go, I can't justify spending money on cardboard.
Yeah.
And so I think, and I've contemplated this, like if I'm in my really healthy state, like how much will I put into the cardboard? Because I
Yeah.
want to do it forever, but I don't think I'll put as much time or effort or anything else because I don't think I'll need it. It's been in the past a bit of a medication.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and you could justify things like, well, if I buy this, it'll be worth it later. And I did a couple videos of being like, I was really preaching to myself of like, don't think this will always be worth more, because if you
Yeah.
do, you'll just keep buying it now. And
Right.
and I think that's the biggest video that I've done, was like, this stuff doesn't always go up, which I for the bulk of it I think is kind of true when you look at like the value of it. Like if you're thinking about, I want something to be worth more, it's like, go in the stock market, fill out your 401k, like do all these other things that are way higher return, safe for everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at the same time, like, spend money for enjoying what you're
Yeah.
enjoying. So I think the focal point is like, dude, I've gotten so much fun from getting 50-cent cards here and there. And that's really
Oh
it. It's like,
yeah.
you got 50 cents. And sometimes it's silly. It's like, this thing's worth like $10. It's hard to find. I got for 50 cents. Yeah. And that can be
Well,
so much more fun than buying the $80 card or the $200 card that you might have spent $20 more for to get or whatever, because you want, like, it's funny. Like, why am I enjoying this so much? Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, one of the funnest thing for like it was nearly like a 12-year-old me with like an old Beckett open. Like, you know, like I basically inherited my brother's collection, and my childhood collection was a part of that. And so the process of going through it, and like there is like I'm pretty much through it. Like there's a box or two that I need to go back through with a little bit finer tooth comb. But it was like 12-year-old me going through these boxes and finding, like, you know, a Frank Thomas rookie, or like, you know, and it's like, oh, where we, I could just remember the days of like Beckett and going through and being like, this is in
Yeah.
good condition. You know what I
What's
mean?
funny is you still think it's cool. Like, I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's a Frank Thomas rookie or whatever. And you go,
Yeah,
you can pick one up for $1, right?
yeah.
Whatever. But I'm like, it's way cooler than $1 though. Right?
It's the big hurt. I mean, come on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I don't know, man. I think I've just turned that way. I've just always been a collector, even though I was away from the hobby. I don't think the gene ever left my body, so it's
Yeah.
it's found its way back to the surface.
Collecting's fun. It's that and baseball are the only things that I can think of right now, other than a moment I just had with my kids not too long ago, that makes me feel like just a kid. It makes me
Yeah,
feel like a kid. I was just thinking, like, we have a big TV in this room behind me, and my son brought over his PlayStation,
yeah.
PlayStation, and we're playing this. You're like a doom buggy car, and you're playing soccer.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
I'm like, I'm trying to figure the thing out and playing, and I end up scoring a goal, and I'm like, yeah, score! And I usually don't get animated. I was like, wow, I got transported to being a kid playing with my
Yeah.
son on the
Well,
thing.
that's probably a great way to put it, because I'm starting to find, I guess it's the older I get, the more I just want to be a kid again, right? Like, and I think that's probably true for all of us to some degree, or a lot of us anyway, because and I don't mean, I guess I mean it from the standpoint of it's a lot more fun, or was a lot more fun, being a carefree kid, just hanging out, looking at cards, or playing video games, or being with your buddies,
Yeah,
than some of the stuff you get to face as an adult. And I find myself having the same feeling, like, you know, when I look at the cards, or when I'm researching the card, or I'm, you know, looking online or whatever, or talking to, you know, guys like you, just hanging out. It's carefree and it feels good. It just feels, you know, it's kind of a release. But like, I can also be playing like Nintendo Switch or something with my kids, and like for that brief few minutes or whatever, it's like you're back there being transported back in time, kind of what you're referring to. That's a really cool
yeah.
thing.
I think there's a balancing act, right? Like, we're called to be responsible and take care
Mm-hmm.
of others and stuff. And I have 4 kids from my first marriage, and I've got 2 from my second. And so you're trying to pour into them and guide them, and spend time with each of them individually and everything else, and you're doing all your other stuff. So you got all that responsibility. Some of the, like, being with them is fun, but not the responsible portion isn't necessarily fun.
Right.
Right? And if you're all responsibility and no play, you're not balanced. You're out of whack. And so as soon as you get back to, you're like, oh, this feels so much better, right? Because
Yeah.
you're trying to do that. So the guy who just, like, puts his nose down and just always driving forward, blah blah blah, like, guy dies of a heart attack at like 50 years old, right?
Yeah.
And the guy who just sits there and plays all day and isn't responsible is like,
Uh-huh.
his world's gonna
100
fall
years
apart,
old.
right?
Yeah.
You're like, how do we do this? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
age
sounds like
group.
you got a handle on it, man. Sounds like you're doing a good job.
Man, I'm sure trying. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder. But
Dude, what else can you do?
just do your best, man. You know what I mean? It's I was fortunate. I had some good men in my life growing up to kind of help me figure out what you're supposed to be. And so uh thankful for that. But it's kind of a balancing act. And you know, anymore, even with the cards, and like the thing that I found hard is, even, you know, I was on a pretty good routine of being able to put videos out. And you know, this is just part of the hobby within the hobby for me. But like anymore, like I love this, because like I've not even had time to do a video like where it's just me going over a topic or something like I normally would, and then having these kind of one-on-ones kind of sprinkled in between. I haven't had time to do anything else, and so I'm
Yeah.
prioritizing, you know, talking to guys like you and getting to know people with the time I do have to record something, just because life the last 2 months has just been like gone from like 0 to 60 as far as just busy and not much free time, and if it is free time, it's this time of night or whatever, and
Yep.
so I'm trying not to let it bother me. I feel like I'm slipping a little bit on what I'm doing, but I have to remind myself that I was just having fun. I'm just having fun with it, and it's just a hobby, part of the hobby anyway. And it's really not a big deal if you can't put a video out each week. It's not the end of the world.
I've heard people comment like that, going like, "Oh man, sorry, I haven't had a chance to watch people's videos. Sorry, I haven't had a chance to post." I always like, I've always watched. I go, "Why are you apologizing? Like, you got stuff going on in life. This is
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
this is a very secondary thing. Like, I've had gaps of like 2 months. Like, I'm like, nope, I don't
yeah,
have. I'm busy." And then you get periods like, "Oh, great, I got some free time. I get to enjoy some time in the car. And I got something cool I want to show, or I've got a little. I'm going to do a video," and doing it that way. But yeah, it shouldn't be stressful for you.
yeah,
I've had stuff where like I post, I'm like, I like all of a sudden you like sometimes you'll post something and like 3 people say something, and then
yeah,
you go, "Oh, okay, and then sometimes like, oh my gosh, there's so many people on this one. I go, I don't have time to answer these. And then
yeah,
I start finding myself feeling bad, and I go, dude, you got to let that go, man. You got other stuff to do. This
yeah,
person's going to post and they're going to move right on with their life to the next video, to the next thing in life, to all the stuff that they have. This isn't one of those big things,
yeah.
man.
Sage advice, Bader, I must say. You're very
It's maybe it's disconnected.
with
Advice.
the wisdom of Bader. I like it. I
The
like it.
wisdom. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
just the way.
I don't know why I just thought of this, but you had mentioned most of the video of your videos I've had a chance to watch, and your sets, obviously, with the great, it's unbelievable that you are that close to completing the 50 sets. But you mentioned pre-war
Yeah.
a few minutes back. How big a pre-war collector are you? Is that a newer thing, or is that something
Oh,
you kind of have always been interested in as you've gone
not
along?
not big. Like from what I watch, when you watch guys who are pre-war, I'm like, holy crap. Yeah, mine's fairly humble. It's mostly Washington Senators.
Yeah.
There's a couple cards where I would have been like, some of those videos are like top 10 cards you'd ever want kind of thing. What's nice is some of my cards are not other people's cards, and I was
Hmm.
able to get those. So like, I've got a Gaudy Mel Ott, which I
Nice. Yeah.
absolutely love. It was one of
Yeah.
those cards. I'm like, man, I really wanted those, even as a kid. And luckily, it's not one of those big cards that for the most part, people have forgotten Mel Ott to a certain degree. Like
Hmm.
and I'm like, dude, this is a top tier. This is a top tier guy.
Yeah.
Um, Love that he's tiny. Like the guy's 5'9", 170 pounds, and he hits 509 home runs, something like that. But his card is, I don't know if you can picture the card, I'm talking about. He has two, one's red, one's green. And his face is so intense. And it just looks like he's like, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just love the intensity of the card. It looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I found a really good looking one.
Yeah.
And I think I paid around
Absolutely. Yeah.
$200 for it like 3 years ago, and I got it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this thing is awesome. So there's not many. Tris Speaker's rookie, his T206 was one of my top 10 cards.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a theme. There's like, these are guys where I'm like, if Ty Cobb didn't exist, Tris
Oh,
Speaker
yeah.
would have been the guy. He was a better defender. He was absolutely amazing. And so that card was a big one for me. So I have his T206. I think I would have held out and got a nicer copy, but it was one of those like price justification things.
Hmm.
But I'm like,
Yeah.
so I've got that guy. What else pre-war? I've got Ted Williams rookie card, which is
Nice.
probably my biggest. That was the biggest. Holy crap! I have this,
Yeah.
and so that being a 39 is pre-war, but it's barely. But other than that, it's all Washington Senator stuff. So I've got a lot of Sam Rice stuff. I love Sam Rice. I'll show. We haven't showed the cards yet.
Yeah. Let's show some cards.
We've got like is Gaudy.
Oh, beautiful.
And lots of times what I'll do is I don't mind the lower grade stuff, like when it looks good. So this has a little piece of tape at the top, and so it
Yeah.
shoots it down to the one. This one I saw is the Diamond Stars, but this one that one's a Blazer. That's a gorgeous card.
Yeah. That is a beautiful card.
I've got a Heine Manouche as well from that series. And then this is kind of We've got some of the really old guys. So I've got that guy, Pinhole. And I don't know
Very
if a lot of
nice.
people know who Sam Rice is, but I'll give you a little tidbit on him. I just thought this is amazing. Do you know Sam Rice much about him?
I do not. I have heard of Sam Rice, know who Sam Rice is, but I don't know much more than that.
It's been kind of fun. Dylan Double D loves Sam Rice, and shortest version, as a young man, he got married at like 17. Got married, had a couple kids. When he was, I think, 20 years old or so, 21, right around there, a tornado went through his town when he was like in a neighboring town playing baseball. His wife, his children, his mother, his father, both of his siblings all died.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I can't imagine what he would have gone through with that kind of. So he went through that, and then he ended up joining it's like the Navy or the Marine. And so he did that for a while, and he'd only play baseball. He would like come in, he'd play some baseball and stuff. And eventually there was a senator who saw him playing at one of these things, and they bought out his contract from the Navy or the military, and they brought him to go play. So he
Yeah.
started playing, and then World War I broke out, and the military took him back. So he goes into the military, and then he comes back. He goes back, so basically his 20s are gone.
Yeah. It,
So
besides being filled with immense tragedy, there,
yeah, there is only one player ever to have more hits in the age of 30 on
than Sam
than
Rice.
him, than Sam Rice, and that's Pete Rose.
Yeah. Wow.
And it took Pete Rose something like I don't know how many more thousands of at bats, but all of the stat lines that he have, if you compare it to Pete Rose, like he's way above beyond. So if he hadn't lost all of his 20s and all that stuff, you're talking about a guy who could have very easily gone 4,000 hits plus.
Yeah.
And
wow.
And nobody really knows about him.
No,
So,
I didn't know that background for sure.
yeah, so him and Goose Gosling were playing mates of each other. And then I've got these are low grade stuff. I don't know why. I'm like, hey, I have a card, but I'm like, there's not many of these. And some of them are like the same card. They look like they're the same card, but there's actually a bunch of different, confectionery companies where it's the same image, but it's a slightly different card. So, in terms of my pre-war stuff, Sam Rice by far is the card that I have the most of, and then I really like Goose Gosling.
Yeah,
Also
very
Senator
nice.
and the Tigers. This is my only one of the DeLongs. I absolutely love that. Cards I would love to have would be the Lou Gehrig or the Jimmy Fox, but I don't see myself, spending the money to do that. But so I got that, and I've got a handful of other ones, but it's like Heine Manouche or Joe Judge. I got Joe Cronin, stuff like that. But some of those like Ty Cobbs, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, I don't have any of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I would love to get back into the pre-war days, but I'm just I find myself hanging out in the 50s and 60s for the most part right now. I'm a golden age guy right now, but one day I would like to get to start adding a little bit of pre-war in. And I'm now that you have told me the history of Sam Rice that I did not know, I'm fascinated by that. I'm going to have to go back and do some reading on him for sure.
It's crazy. In all of his pictures, he just has this stern, sad kind of look about him all the time. But he was one of those like I don't know, Ichiro meets Brett Butler type, like not a lot of power, really fast. I think he's like 6 foot, 155 pounds. So, just a string bean.
Yeah.
Fast guy kind of thing. Wow. Different era. But yeah, guys like that. I like the what if players. Like, man, what if this had been different? What if that had been different?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many of them, and the more you learn about the history, the more of those guys that there are. And so I love it when somebody just like kind of like dips behind the below the radar and stuff, and you're like, and you can grab pictures and you go, hey, this person in his time was actually, comparable to these other cards that would have cost 50 times as much, 100 times as much.
Yeah, There's one like I know. I don't know what in your statement there just made me think of this, but like the stories behind the players, especially in that pre-war era, like I do find very interesting. And like Mo Berg, for instance, and his whole the catcher was a spy and his
Mhm.
kind of his history. Like there's just it's so interesting to look at the players, but learn more about their lives and kind
Yeah.
of who they were and all the kind of the backstory there. I mean, it's just very interesting to me. It's intriguing.
It's interesting. You can have a card. You go, this means nothing to me, and then you read about something and it's a little
You're
story,
like,
and all of a sudden you go,
oh,
oh, I really want. And it is. There's a Dustin Abraham has Kirby Puckett Place,
mm-hmm.
and he's the first person that I kind of actually like talked to in the
Yeah,
hobby when I started a channel, and he gave me like my first shout out and stuff. And he's got a insane Kirby Puckett collection. And we were talking. He goes, "Well, have you heard of Cecil Travis?" And I'm like, "I've never heard of Cecil Travis." And then I looked it up. I'm like, "Holy crap! He was an all-star shortstop for the Senators." And I'm reading. I go, "He was really good." And then he went off to World War II, fought in the Battle of the Bulge, got frostbite and lost some like toes and stuff on his feet. And he came back and he was never the same guy. But if you looked at
yeah.
his trajectory, I think he had a WAR of pushing 40 by the time he's 27. Like he was a
Wow.
stud. And
Yeah,
so I was like, oh my gosh, now I want his cards really bad. And so like
yeah,
went out and got like Wheaties box cutouts and some other stuff. And I'm like, thank you very much, Dustin, for telling me about that, because I did not know about him
yeah,
and nobody's talked about him.
yeah,
And it's really cool finding out about new people. I think my last one I got super excited about learning was a guy named Connie Marrero. And he was a little 5'5" Cuban pitcher who was
yeah.
like a freak stud in Cuba, and then he came over to the United States as like in his late 30s and broke into the majors at 39 years old. And if
Wow.
you start looking at his stuff, I'm like, dude, this is a Cuban Satchel Paige, and nobody talks about him. He's a huge personality. I mean, if he was a Negro League player that switched over, like his cards would be really expensive now. But he wasn't.
Yeah,
He was Cuban, and nobody cares.
yeah.
And uh, and actually, I think the most excited I ever was to see a card was I'll show you this one.
Hang on, just a second. We blow it up.
Yeah. Okay. So nobody's gonna really like, hey, no big deal. So this is Conrado Marrero. This is a 55-56 Chico Peleteros card, and right now there's I think like 6 of them graded. Like that's
Wow.
it.
Yeah,
So there's only, and I've never seen one other than that one that's not graded. Now here's I really like Camilo Pascual. I've mentioned him on probably 70 or 80% of my things where I go, here's his. And this is a huge card. This is the most important card in my YouTube journey, is this one right here. So I've got both of them, and these are an incredibly rare, difficult cards to come by. And when I saw that Conrado Marrero, I had taken a 2 months pause from buying cards, and I was like,
yeah.
fun, you like eBay, and it popped up. I go, holy crap! I hit buy it now so fast. It was $40. It was like $39. So I'm like, yes. I was so pumped, to get that card. And I haven't done a SGC submission in forever, but like I'm gonna send that card. I'm a little afraid that they might not grade it because they're rare enough to where I hear SGC's like backing off on some of the real rare stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's a $40 card. I don't know what the mark, because there's like how many people want that card, but it's incredibly rare, and this guy did. So
seeing the permagrin that came across your face when you said you saw it pop up on eBay, like that says it all.
So, you can go look at Chico Peleteros 56, 57 cards on eBay. The entire set, there might be 4 cards or 5 cards in the whole set on eBay right now. Like you don't see them.
Yeah. That's
and
awesome,
those are the two cards like in the entire set that like those are the ones that I would want.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, Bader, as much as I'd love to keep talking, we're coming up on that hour mark. You think we better
I'm gonna guess there's 3 people that have, hey, anybody who's seen it up to this point, leave a comment. My guess is it's 3 people tops. It started off like 80 and went what?
Me and Bader want to know who the 3 that survived are, so leave your comments below, please.
Yeah. Please do. Like I never have asked for like, hey, leave a comment, but this one I just want to see something like, what have we talked about? Like
we want to see who's really dedicated. Yeah, we want to say
Yeah.
he's really dedicated, to listening to us ramble. But anyway, I have enjoyed it. Will you come back and do this with me again sometime when life
Oh, I
allows?
would love to. Yeah, maybe like top cards do show, whatever, man. I'm always down.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it immensely, man, and I look forward to getting to know you more. So let's keep texting, let's keep talking. I'll keep throwing prayers your way for all you guys are going through, and
Thank you,
glad
man.
that
I appreciate that. I
yeah,
really do.
glad you got a great summer ahead of you. For those of you that may not have checked out Bader's channel, check out Bader's Hobby Life on YouTube. Hit like and subscribe. You will not be disappointed, I assure you. Great stuff from a great guy. And Bader, until next time, brother.